Yeah, it's good to see everybody. Obviously, for us, starting here a couple weeks earlier than we typically have, certainly got everybody pretty excited and pretty juiced here. It's been a great last 2 months for our guys to be in the weight room and developing and get to know each other and just building this culture and building this football team. And we're certainly excited to take the field here in about 9 or 10 days and get to work and strive to improve every single day. So, whatever questions you guys have, fire away.
Hey, Coach, nice to see you. What would have been your early impressions of Jonas Williams?
Very mature. I think that's the first thing that sticks out. He's done a great job of just attacking all of his responsibilities, whether it's off the field stuff. So, anytime you're a 17-year-old kid and you're coming to college for the first time away from home, there's a lot of stuff to manage. And obviously the football part for all these kids, that's the fun part. But there's a lot of other things that they got to learn and responsibilities and time management. And I just think he's handled everything with a lot of maturity. I think he's earning the respect of his teammates. He's come in here with a very humble attitude and very workmanlike. Obviously was able to develop a good relationship with him here over the last 18 months. And he's just, somebody that's always striving to learn more. So I think for a guy that's, only been here for a month and a half, whatever it's been, he's done a great job of absorbing, learning from his teammates. Like I said, the humility piece. And I'm excited to go watch him, throw it around. I think he's going to come out there, and one day at a time, there's going to be some learning curves, because you can watch it on film, you can go through a walkthrough, but until there's live bullets and you're lining up against our defense, which is a really good defense and well-coached defense, there's going to be some ups and downs. But he's a very mature, level-headed kid, and been very impressed with him so far.
Hey, Becky. Obviously, Jaden's had 2 off seasons now in the system to learn. I know last year was a lot about him being a leader.
Yep.
And working on that, sharpening some of the mechanics. What's the focus this year, and what have you seen so far from him?
Yeah, I think, kind of in this short period of time, obviously we got a ton of new players, that just joined our roster here in January. And I think the biggest thing that Jaden's done different from previous off seasons is, he's taken these guys in and he's doing a lot of the meetings with these guys right now. He's obviously played a lot of football snaps here at USC, and particularly with some of our perimeter players, some of our younger receivers, transfer receivers, and younger tight ends. Like, he's done a great job building a group thread. They're watching tape on their own, going through plays. He's taking them out on the field, doing walkthroughs. So he's taken a huge leadership jump from that role, and understanding that, we got some really good, young, talented dudes that, have just joined our roster, and we got practice here pretty soon, and he's got a tremendous sense of urgency, that you just feel from him right now, because every single day, that we're in this building, we have an opportunity to grow and get better. And I thought he's done a really good job thus far of getting to know some of these new teammates and spending time with them in the meeting rooms, spending time with these guys away from the building, and just building these relationships and connecting, and just continuing to unify our roster.
Hey, Haley Sawyer, Orange County Register. I think I remember you saying before the Alamo Bowl that Jaden's very hard on himself. Just kind of curious, what are some of the pros and cons of working with athletes like that?
Well, I think, the pros are, that certainly he's never satisfied. So there's always a drive and a hunger to get better and improve. And I think probably even more important than that is the sense of accountability that comes with it. He's certainly a guy, when something doesn't go the direction that we want it to go from an execution standpoint, he's going to put it on his shoulders, which, his teammates are going to realize and recognize that. So obviously from that standpoint of the desire to grow and to get better and to never be satisfied and to hold yourself accountable for your performance and keep that standard high, it's a positive. Obviously from a negative standpoint, as a quarterback, you just got to move on sometimes. So, you can't let a negative play affect the next play, or you can't let it affect your body language. So, those are things that he's worked on, that he's improved upon. But I certainly love the fact that he's a very accountable quarterback, and that, he's going to put, some of the blame on his shoulders. He's not going to shy away from that. But conversely, he does a tremendous job of, when things do go well, giving everybody else the credit. And I think that's what makes him a special leader, is that, He is team first, he's team second, he's team third, he's team fourth, he's team fifth. And all he cares about at the end of the day is helping his football team win games. He did a great job of helping us do that in a lot of games this year, and we know we still have a little bit of margin of error, a little bit of gap to close to get over the hump, and he's working very hard in that direction.
Coach, I think everybody understands the chain of command and game day, how things work. But what is your role for the fans as an offensive coordinator? Kind of walk us through your weekly prep team.
Yeah, just to make sure I don't say anything dumb to the head coach. No, Coach Riley and I spent a lot of time throughout the course of the week constructing the game plan. So for me, like from a responsibility standpoint, obviously working with the quarterbacks, really honing in on a lot of the passing game planning portion of the game plan. And then for me, the reward is Saturday, and for everybody, for players and coaches, game day is a tremendous reward, and the opportunity to coach football at USC and the opportunity to put on this logo every single day, and for me to be able to work with Coach Riley on a daily basis is a tremendous blessing. So, game day is a lot of fun because we're on the headset together. I'm up in the box, and we communicate through the course of the game, pretty much nonstop. He's a tremendous play caller, so for me, I just try to give him all the best possible information that I can. Obviously, we have the iPads as well, so in between series, we'll talk about what we want to do the next series, and in between plays at times, if there's little gaps, it might be like, hey, what are we thinking on third down? But really, I just try to provide and give him the best possible information, and I think the fun thing for me is now we're going on year 5. We've developed a pretty good relationship and gotten to know each other well, and I think there's a level of trust that's been built, but game days for me is a ton of fun because getting the opportunity to communicate with him throughout the course of the game, and obviously he's a tremendous play caller, and I just try to do my best each and every week to help him prepare a really, really good game plan, and then on game day to give him the information and give him my opinions, and I think can help us through the course of the ball game.
I know you talked about Jonas's maturity and now that's rare for a freshman. In terms of on the field, where is he most developed as a quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, some of that's going to be, we'll find out a little bit more here in a couple of weeks. Certainly in the evaluation process, Jonas is a kid that, from a physical standpoint, he's about 210 pounds. He comes from a really, really good program. The thing for me that was cool was when I was at Illinois State in 2011, I recruited a quarterback from Lincoln Way East. And Coach Zonar, who's the head coach there, he was the head coach then. And it's a tremendous program, and the kind of type of system that they ran on offense, very multiple. They asked the quarterback to do a lot, but he was also trained in the weight room a lot too. He's a kid that can go in the weight room right now as a freshman, and he can put some weight on the bar, on the squat, the bench, and all the different things. So from a physical standpoint, he's pretty developed. Obviously, you guys have all seen the tape on Huddle. He's a kid that has the ability to utilize his feet, and he's an athletic kid. I don't use the term dual threat very much, but he certainly falls into that category. But I think too, just evaluating him. I got a chance to watch him play live in a game his junior year. Very accurate. Knows where to go with the football. Was very decisive. So certainly looking forward to this process because that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a development process that hopefully by practice 1 to practice 15 we'll take a lot of strides and find a lot of improvement.
Sam's coming back this year. How does he fit into the room with Jaden and Jonas? Obviously last year he had that trick play.
Yeah.
What's his status?
That was a cool play. Sam is the ultimate teammate, and Sam is an extremely talented player as well. So for us, as we sit in here and we know that college football rosters are, they've become very interesting. But for us to have two, very veteran, experienced guys, and the thing that's really cool is that Jaden and Sam are extremely close. Sam and Jonas are very close. Jaden and Jonas are very close. We have a room that's unifies more and more every single day, and really have great relationships. And this is a group that's going to push each other. They're all three very competitive guys. But there's a tremendous level of respect amongst them as well. So, for us to have Sam, you're talking about, a guy that's been, in 5 different systems, tremendous knowledge, has earned the respect of all of his teammates, and we're certainly happy to have him here and to continue to compete and grow and get better every day, and support our team and be ready if his number's called.
Before last season, you and Coach Huard talked about Coach Jaden Maiava turning his bad plays from turnovers into throwaways. Is that
Yeah.
another point of emphasis?
No, for sure. I mean, that's when you're coaching the quarterback position, that's going to be a point of emphasis forever. And certainly, if you look at, from the 2024 season, obviously he played lesser snaps to the 2025. He made a lot of strides in that direction. And we've definitely spent some time in meetings, and we've had time to meet with our players and specifically the quarterbacks, analyzing those plays that we still need to close the gap on, because there's still some plays, and we call them winning football plays. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, if you throw an incompletion or you throw a ball away, a lot of times that's going to help your team, and it's not necessarily going to hurt your team. Obviously, we know that turnovers can certainly be pretty tough to overcome at certain moments in games. So that'll always be an emphasis for every quarterback in every system, but that's certainly one that we're continuing to attack and continuing to build on some of the really positive things that he did last year as far as taking care of the ball, and then continue to work on those moments where we can make better decisions and move on from some scenarios where we could have simply just thrown it away or moved on to the next progression.
Coach, what was your sense of Jaden's decision making in terms of handing the ball off or keeping it and running? And I guess what does it look like for success when he's running? How much?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to depend on who we're playing, the opponent, and certainly, as far as like in the running game, there's going to be certain games where you're going to need your quarterback a little bit more in the running game, and there's certain games where you're just not. And there's certainly going to be scenarios where, especially in big games and big moments where they're not accounting for the quarterback, that it's going to be pretty awesome when he pulls it and gets his 10, 15 yards. I certainly think if you look at the Nebraska game, for example, that was probably the one game this year where we did not throw the football very efficiently, but I think he had, you guys can correct me, but I think he had like 85 yards rushing. Had some really good pulls, a couple in the red zone, one I think that went for a touchdown. So certainly for the quarterback to be a threat, and if you look at Jaden, he's a bigger body, he's not an easy tackle, and he's got pretty good instincts as a runner as well. So for us too, like utilizing those opportunities when we can use our feet and the ability to pull the ball down as a weapon, I mean, that can be a major game changer. Even if it's a 3rd and 4 and everybody's got their backs turned and they are committed to coverage, and we stick our foot in the ground and go get a big, huge first down, I mean, that can change games. So it's definitely something that obviously he showed that he's very capable of, and obviously it'll be a game by game, scenario by scenario, situation by situation, based on how much we want to utilize that. But certainly that's something that he brings value to this offense on, and I thought at times last year he did a really, really good job, and for the most part, when we were asking him to make decisions on whether to hand it or pull it, for the most part last year he did a really good job in that decision-making process, and for the most part did a pretty doggone good job running the football as well.
Hey Coach, we touched on it a little bit earlier, but as someone that sees it probably as up close as anyone, how good is Lincoln Riley's play calling? We've seen great plays week in and week out. What does that look like?
Yeah, he's elite. I mean, I've been extremely fortunate, in the last, 7 years of my career to work with, two of the most brilliant football minds between Jimbo Fisher and Coach Riley. And Coach Riley, he has, number one, he has tremendous instincts. He's got a great feel for the game. He sees the game on game day. Obviously, he calls the plays from the sideline, which it's probably 50-50 as far as guys that call it from the box or down from the field. But he sees the game very, very well. And then ultimately, too, at the end of the day, to be a great play caller, you got to be tremendously organized and prepared. And, Coach Riley he works tremendously hard. He is very, very detail-oriented. So in addition to just tremendous instincts and seeing it and feeling it on game day, the preparation that he puts in, week out, and the way that we craft our game plans. He is dynamic and phenomenal. And coolest thing too, he's no ego, man. wherever a good idea comes from, it doesn't matter who it comes from, we're going to go with it. But yeah, it's like I said, on game day is a lot of fun because I get the ability to communicate with him and share my thoughts on certain scenarios, and it's a lot of fun.
We'll do one more for Coach.
Okay, we've asked thinking about this before, but obviously, planning for quarterbacks has changed a lot in these last couple years with the transfer portal. Obviously, you use Husan this offseason. I guess from your perspective, how has the movement of quarterbacks kind of changed how you approach, developing guys, recruiting guys?
Well, I mean, we've got 3 quarterbacks right now on scholarship here, and we have a 4th right now walk-on. We may add another one later on. We are going to coach the guys that are on our roster at an elite level. And we are going to recruit guys that are going to represent USC at an elite level and give us the opportunity to win and compete for national championships. So for us, it's identifying those guys that USC is important to them, that they want to truly be here, they want to stay and develop. But at the end of the day, we're going to have quarterbacks on our roster, and we're going to coach them up as hard as we can and make sure that they help our offense and our football team compete and win games.
Thank you, Coach.
You bet.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you.